everybody. Welcome into A Glitch in the Matrix. I am your host, Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress, and I have another fantastic show lined up for us today. I have my buddy, my fellow researcher, teammate, friend, Glen Sportcat Jackson in the house today, and we're going to be talking about some really fun stuff like skinwalkers. Skinwalkers and the the pale crawlers and cryptids. I kind of have been putting research into this whole cryptids and the caves and things like that because I am going on an investigation this week, actually, with a team of cryptid researchers. Kind of investigators, and we're investigating a lady's house. I had her on my show last week, Farah, and she has a cave right behind her house. This something's been coming out of that thing and messing with her house and eating her or taking her chickens or something. So we're going to go look into that this week. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm getting myself into. Okay, so we're going to be talking about some of that today with Glen. He's actually from Tennessee, where I'm going to be going, and he knows a little bit about those caves up there. So. All right. Well, let's see. If you guys would like to follow along with what I'm doing, all my shows, all of my events that I'm going to be at, you guys go hang out at my website. You can go find everything over at thecryptidhuntress.com. Okay. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me. If you have any suggestions for like RV targets or whatever, I can forward those over to a tasker. And yeah, we're chipping away at some of these remote viewing targets. Okay. And we're having a lot of fun doing that. Actually tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, I have Jeremiah Fountain coming on my show, and we're going to have, I think Nick Valente is going to join us too, actually tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So y'all be there. He's encountered something out in the woods. Okay. And I'm going to get into that tomorrow night. I've remote viewed whatever that was. Okay. And maybe a reptilian. Okay. We're just going to put it that way. All right. And also, if you guys would like to support what I'm doing, you can become a member of my Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress over there on Patreon. And I am so thankful and humbled by the people who are members of my Patreon. Thank you guys so much. And also, I do have a shop. It's called War Woman Goods. Okay. And that's on Etsy. I do sell old vintage Native American jewelry, okay, turquoise and things like that. So you guys can go over there, and that's a great way to support my shows. Okay. And don't forget, every Saturday and Sunday night, I do have a show on Spaced Out Radio. It's called Off the Trails. And I go off the rails over there, and it's a lot of fun there too. Okay. Well, without further ado, I need to introduce my illustrious guest today. I have Glen Jackson here, and I've known Glen for quite a while. I believe he was on that first expedition I ever went on with my Bigfoot team. Glen Jackson is a paranormal and Bigfoot field researcher based in Georgia. He had Bigfoot encounters before he knew about Bigfoot. He's encountered the Mount Vernon Monster, the Alabama White Thing. He's gotten zapped and has had encounters with a possible man in black. I think it's more like a woman in black. Okay, an MIB. He's trained extensively in remote viewing and spent years researching in the field. Glen is a critical care paramedic, certified firefighter, and hazardous materials technician. He's also an instructor of emergency medicine. And he has a really fantastic YouTube channel. It's called Paranormal Guys, and he's having a lot of fun over there. And today he's here to have fun with us. So welcome to the show, my friend, Glen Jackson.
Hello. It's me. How are you?
Hey, Glen, I'm fantastic. I'm feeling good today, and we're gonna have some fun. I always love it when my teammates come on my shows.
Cool. I always love to come on your show because, well, you never know what the heck we're gonna say.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely right. I don't know what I'm gonna say from one second to the next, but stuff comes out no matter what, and
it works out.
Yeah, well, I figured we talk about Tennessee today. So you're actually born and raised in Tennessee, am I right?
Yeah. I wasn't born there, but I was born in Virginia, but spent most of my life in Tennessee. Yes. Yeah. Yep. East Tennessee, Halls High School. So, yep.
Up in the boonies. Okay. That sounds fun. Yeah. Well, I just had a revelation about East Tennessee. I talk about East Tennessee all the time about the Oak Ridge labs over there and all the high strangeness in East Tennessee. And guess what my dad told me last weekend, Glenn? Take a wild guess. Okay.
He told your family worked on Black Ops.
Well,
Pause.
Close. No, I'm just kidding. No, actually, he told me that our family had a lumber mill in East Tennessee, right beside. It was in Oak Ridge, a matter of fact, in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and my dad worked there for a long time when he was younger. Yeah,
interesting.
That was owned by my great grandfather. Yeah,
interesting.
So
yeah,
I asked him. I was like, "Did you ever see anything weird out there?" And he said, "No," but I don't know. He didn't pay attention. So to that kind of stuff.
They built that city in what, 2 weeks or something. It was a short period of time. So yeah,
really.
And then Oak Ridge was built in secret. It was built in, I don't remember. It was a short period of time, but yeah, the government found this location, put it together, and was like, okay, we're going to bring everybody here. We're going to build the city, and then we're going to build a gate around it. So yeah. It was, there's a lot. Interestingly enough, my family moved from East Tennessee to Washington, D.C., where I was born, and worked with, we'll just say, departments. So yeah. My grandmother and grandfather were all a part of that military boom that came out of East Tennessee and then went to DC to work for the government. So yeah, I come by this high strangeness, honestly, I guess.
Well, you're highly strange yourself, Glenn. I'm just kidding.
I am.
I know. We all are.
I've gone to calling myself a misfit. I think I feel like I'm more of a misfit. I don't fit in well with society. You have a loaded, full house tonight in your chat.
Yes, we have a lot of people. Thank y'all for being here. I already see a lot of familiar faces in here. Everybody's familiar at this point. That I'm way behind. I get way behind on the comments though, and yes, and it's always interesting because we have people across the world that are like in England and Australia and stuff, and so it's a totally different time zone over there. So it's like nighttime, and I'm just getting started over here in the daytime. So it's all fun. Thank y'all so much for being here. Everyone,
it is cool. It is cool when you get so many people from far away. I had a guy show up on one of my shows from Saudi, just out of the clear of the blue, and I'm like, "Hi."
Oh, wow.
I was like, I didn't know I knew anybody in Saudi.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So,
well, hey, I know some people up in Tennessee. Okay. And I wanted to,
yep.
Yeah. So I figure we talk about the Tennessee stuff a little bit. By the way, the Manhattan Project was based out of that Oak Ridge Labs too. And so were your grandparents working on that?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, there's so much high strangeness up there, and just recently, I just was told that I may be encountering skinwalkers up there this week. Okay, skinwalkers, a cave full of them, and what do you think about that?
Have fun with that. Well, the skinwalkers have went by so many different names to the natives up there. Yeah, it's a part of the folklore. There's a lot of people who have seen them and had activity with them. So yeah, you could have an interesting weekend.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they sound terrifying. I've actually consulted with a very good friend of mine who is Native American, like a medicine man, shaman, and he has given me some advice that it makes me it makes me a little sweaty. Okay. I'm like a little nervous. I don't get nervous, Lynn. I really don't. But
I know.
This one is making me a little nervous. Yeah. I'm not scared.
I just told you, turn on your location tracking so I know where you are. So our team will come save you.
Okay. Okay. Well, and you guys can remote view me too. So you can remote view. We'll stick the team on it. Okay. You guys, I'll give you the address where I'm going to be. Okay. I'll give it to somebody. You guys, y'all come do a helicopter mission or something. Come find me. Okay. Remote view it.
We'll do some specialty research and come in and get you.
I know I can count on you. I know I can count on you guys. That's why I'm not even worried. I'm really not. And we have a really good team that's going up there. Some of the guys from Cryptid Warfare podcast and some of their buddies. And also we've got something, allegedly, we got something, maybe, we don't know for sure. Some mediums actually looked into this and so they saw what they consider to be rakes around this cave too. Are you familiar with rakes?
Wow. No, those I'm not familiar with. I mean, I've heard of them, but I'm not familiar with them. And, is that area got a lot of, like the areas we go to with quartz and granite in it, I bet? It seems to be a familiar thing. I know the area's got caves, so it's probably limestone, but.
Yes, there is actually. Okay, so we have this picture right here. I was going to show this today of Tennessee and the cave systems. You sent me an email. We were talking about caves and stuff in Tennessee, and this there's like a cave system straight down the middle of Tennessee right there, and it's just over slightly to the left of at the very top of that, and there's definitely some caves in the county where I'm going. Okay. But yeah, I mean, tell me a little bit about Tennessee being one big cave, Glenn.
Well, my family talked about for years. The city of Knoxville was built on caves. The entire state of Tennessee was built basically on caves. And I got to look into it. And as the study there says, that's from the University of Tennessee. There's that many 11,571 known caves. And they estimate over 600 miles of caves have yet to be discovered. And those are just ones, or not discovered, explored. Those are just ones that they know about. They're still finding them. And I found it interesting that they find them through the sinkholes. They don't know they're actually there until something pops up.
Whoa.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And there's a complete underground to like Knoxville because they had to raise the city at one point. And so, yeah, there's a lot of history about caves in Tennessee. Tennessee has the most caves in it than any state.
No way. I mean, I don't doubt that. I've done several shows on the monsters of the Appalachians. Okay. And that's the Appalachian Mountains right there. And I gotta say, there are modern day dinosaur sightings in those mountains, Glenn, like velociraptors and stuff.
Yes. And some of those underground caves, I guess the most world famous is the Lost Sea in Chattanooga. It's a whole body of water down there, and there's I can't talk. Unknown creatures that they're still discovering. I mean, I read a thing about cave crickets that live 600 feet below ground, that they didn't know about. And I'm like, how is this possible?
Oh my God. Well, what is that place I've been to? I took my son there when he was little. He doesn't remember it, I'm sure, but it's like you get on is it Ruby Falls or Anna Ruby Falls maybe? And you get in the elevator and you go way, way down into the earth. And it's very claustrophobic. And
yes.
And once you get down there, they have beautiful waterfalls underneath the ground. And it's lit up with all these lights and stuff. And it's just beautiful down there. But it's eerie to me. It's a little eerie.
Yeah, we took some explorers and Boy Scouts spelunking in the Chattanooga area. And yeah, I mean, I was in better shape and much younger and skinnier. And some of those places we were crawling into, I told my buddy when we got there, I was like, why in the hell did we do that? Because you get the feeling of, I mean, it's the energy, obviously, but you get the feeling that the world's going to fall on you. And you start, okay, is this breath going to be the last bit of oxygen? And interestingly enough, I found out just doing a little research that the oxygen, even down there, is like 17%, so we could survive on it. I'm like, that's great. The farthest they've been down, they say. So I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Sorry, that's my medical hazmat tech coming out.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's great. That's, I mean, I don't like getting in caves. I've never gone caving before. Okay, Glenn, I get claustrophobic. Okay. And I'm scared that I'd have to squeeze through something that I just don't know if I'd be able to get out of.
Yes.
Okay. That's the only thing that would stop me from going in caves. Well, and the critters.
Yeah, there's just the common everyday critters from raccoons, possums, bobcats, foxes to rumor has it or legend has it all kinds of other things.
Like what? Like trolls? Or what?
Well, I've heard stories of the little people. So I guess that could be considered trolls, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cave dwellers.
Well, cave dwellers. Well, we can have feral people up in there too, right?
Oh, that's feral very possible. I was a paramedic up there. That's very possible.
Have you ever encountered feral people being a paramedic or even just spending time in the woods?
Actually, weird story. Yes. Up in Claiborne County, Tennessee, we ran a call on a guy that was had been living up in the mountains in the woods for so long he didn't know anything about what was going on around him or around. And the cops were like, "We need to take him to jail." And I'm like, "What did he do wrong?" He's like, "Well, he doesn't know where he is or what's going on." I was like, "No, he just isn't aware of our stuff." But yeah, I have. It's weird.
That sounds like a perfect life to me. I'd rather not know what's going on.
Gosh, wouldn't it be good sometimes?
He broke out of the Matrix, right? I mean,
true. His Matrix, and they wanted to pull him
in. Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so Janet in the chat, she said she would scout the front of the cave with cameras, go back after a day or so within earshot, make noise, and then slowly approach. Absolutely. Actually, Farah has set cameras up all around the cave, around her house. One night when her chickens went missing one morning, she had a chicken that went missing. There was nothing left but feathers. Okay. And one of the chickens was out of the cage. And Glenn, there was a stick going through her fence of the chicken coop, a stick, like a big one. And obviously with her chicken being gone, it could have pulled it through one of the holes in the fence, but there was a chicken outside the fence. Okay. And it wouldn't have been able to get through that little tiny hole. Okay. And there was a big old footprint beside the chicken coop that looks to me like a big footprint. But anyways, when that happened, they went to go check their cameras to see what had taken it. And the camera had been moved on the side of her house. Yeah. So I would assume that if it was a Bigfoot, they knew there was an IR light shining. And so they moved it. Yeah.
That would make sense. Yeah.
So that would show some sign of intelligence, Glenn.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. We believe these animals can see in that light spectrum. And obviously if they have the intelligence to know what that is, after all these years, and they moved it. That definitely shows signs of intelligence, whatever the creature is.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to think that there's Sasquatch. If it's anything, it's a Sasquatch living in that cave or a family of them. But the mediums that looked into it, they were pretty set on they said that they all three, these are like well-known mediums, I guess. And they said that they sense that there's skinwalkers in that cave and rakes. I was picking up on Sasquatch. So honestly, as a researcher, Glenn, like we kind of have to be prepared for anything going up there. And I'm not sure how to prepare for a skinwalker exactly. So I did seek the advice of a Native American shaman. Okay.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know how to prepare for a skinwalker either.
No, it actually turned into just not physical, but this is a spiritual type of an investigation as well. And so there's so many aspects that go into this stuff. And I can't tell you the number of people that have said they're worried about me coming back from this. I'll be fine, y'all. I'll be fine. I promise. Right, Glenn? I'm going to be fine. Yeah.
You will be perfectly fine. I know you. You're one tough cookie.
I'm one tough cookie. I am. And we're gonna kick butt. And maybe we could even get, hey, look, if we came out with some evidence of skinwalkers and stuff, wouldn't that be kind of cool?
That would be amazing, yeah.
Preferably not bite marks. Stuff.
Bite marks, scratches, that's
right. Exactly.
Or the even worse, bring something home with you. That's the worst ones. Yeah, that's been my biggest fear in the woods.
Yeah. Well, I have definitely brought home orbs with me before. Some kind of hitchhikers. And that's a phenomenon that happens sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. That's the only part of doing these research things that has ever got to me. The critters, you can put them in their place or live with them, but something like that just to me kind of freaks me out. But
yeah, it's hard for a Bigfoot to jump in your back seat and hide, go home with you, but it becomes a supernatural element that can follow you home, and so there's a lot of different protection methods that go into all this as well, and that's something that we're going to have to take great precaution with this week.
Yes.
So yes, like I said, this is a spiritual battle. Okay. And I'm not saying I'm going into battle. Okay. I'm just saying that there's a spiritual war going on right now. So
agreed. Yeah. And if you remember advice from one of our teammates, Grumpy, take everything you can, prayers to rocks in your pocket. So
yeah. I'll put some quartz in my bra. How about that? And that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay, I'm kind of kidding, but I'm not. Okay, so yeah, actually, that last comment that I just pulled up about the cameras. Well, I've actually I've been consulting with a lot of different people on this investigation, and including Nick Valente with the International Dogman Project.
Good choice.
He suggests putting like a robotic kind of camera into that cave before anybody goes in there. And, my focus actually was like, I wanted to investigate like the outside of the property and like the woods and stuff. And I think the guys want to kind of do the cave. I'm like, so I don't know, maybe I'll just let them go inside and do the cave stuff. But yeah, it's, sending a camera in is a great idea, like on rollers or like an automated, what do you call those things?
Like a mechanical truck,
like a drone or
robot,
something.
A drone, that's a good idea. If someone in the team had one, that would be great.
A remote car. Oh, here we go. Here's a comment that says the same thing. Cave, remote with camera. Well, we may have all of that, Henry. Thank you.
Second Amendment.
We know how to protect ourselves out there. So yes, that's another thing. So especially when you have creatures that are out there, like there's a very famous story about I think it's called the Black Mountain Dogman. That's just right down the road from there. So lots of high strangeness. And as a matter of fact, I did have a friend of mine who maps out ley lines, Glenn. And so I contacted her as well. And she sent me some maps yesterday of the ley lines in the area. And there's one major ley line that's 10 miles north of this property. I believe it's called the Serpent Mound ley line is what they call it.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, and I got to tell you, Glenn, where you and I do a bunch of research, there are ley lines going through every single one of those areas.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not to give it away. I'm not telling our spots, y'all, but on this map that she has, there are multiple ley lines going through those areas.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And it's not surprising. Yeah. Not surprising at all. What do you know anything about ley lines and like?
No,
I don't.
Besides for the fact that everywhere we've researched them, they are, and like I was telling about the quartz and the granite, high energy. Yeah, that's wherever you see those things usually. And if you consult some of the older maps in the archives, you'll see that they have names for them that we don't have now that give an indication that this goes back with a long history. I mean, I'll never forget part of the area I grew up in Tennessee. I think it was Booger Hollow or something like that, Wood Booger Hollow, and I'm like, that is so strange.
Yeah. Well, now we'll see. We have a booger holler in Georgia too. It's in Rome, Georgia. At Floyd County, I believe there's a booger holler. Okay. Yeah. And I say holler, not hollow. Okay. So there's a booger holler. But I just thought it was because people had boogers in their nose or something. I didn't know, but now that I know what I know, they have Bigfoots out there apparently. Wild men, hairy men, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think in Virginia it's Wood Booger Hollow or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Oxygen sensors. That's a good idea. But I doubt you would be going that far into where you need to worry about it.
The cave?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. We're going to, I'm a brave lady. but I don't know how brave I am when it comes to skinwalkers in a dark cave. So
that's getting up into their neighborhood a
there.
little too much. So yeah, I'm with you. You got no place for cover and concealment. So
yeah, well, and yeah, I'm gonna let those guys take care of that. So we'll see. I mean, Nick Valente was telling me we need to take flashbangs and stuff. So I don't
Coming
know.
from him, yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing though, Glenn. It's like after you go to an investigation site and you're investigating someone's property, which I don't do that often. You know, we go out and do our research out in the woods. We go have some fun and experience Bigfoots and aliens, whatever's out there. We go experience it. Now, investigating a super highly active property is a little bit different because we have to take into consideration the family that lives there in the aftermath of this investigation. Much like ghost hunting and things like that, you know, you go in there, you start stirring stuff up. And when we leave, we need to be able to have faith that these things are not going to attack the family after we leave.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You remember in Florida, we had that concern.
Oh, that's right.
Down there.
Well, that was well, was that was the family up in Chattahoochee, I think, that went on the Animal Planet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a pretty well-known story. And I know that I forgot their names, but they shared their story on several TV shows, I believe. Had Bigfoot activity, and we went down there and did some research. I believe Stacy Brown actually might have captured a skunk ape on that property in a video. He's a pretty famous skunk ape video guy down there in Florida. But also down in Florida, they have that wild man report from, you know, the early 1900s or 1800s, the Ocheesee Pond wild man. That's in that area, Glenn, not too far from there where we did that investigation. So lots of high strangeness and strange entities down there. Down in Florida. So yeah, so I am worried a little bit about the family. I did remote view this property, and I did see that there was a shaman involved in a lot of this that's going on down there, and a shaman is needed to close it all down. So
okay,
yeah, there's well that's where there's a big spiritual aspect to all of this. Okay, it's not just Bigfoot. It's rituals and things like that. And I've been talking about that on my show a good bit. Our cursed lands and how people doing rituals throughout history can really stir stuff up and conjure things. And Glenn, there's been a lot of battles in Tennessee. Am I correct?
Yes.
Like Civil War and Native American stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Very active area. I'm not sure how far you're going, but one of the famous battle there, Chickamauga. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Chickamauga is right there on the Georgia-Tennessee border, right there. And I actually I talk about it pretty often because I did a show on Old Green Eyes from up there. He was that's an entity that was eating the dead corpses of the soldiers.
Okay. That sounds like a rake.
Well, yeah. Well, what is a rake exactly, Glenn? Do you know? Because I think those ladies had mentioned, the medium said that it was something that will take your skin off your body.
Yeah, from what I understand, they're a combination of a spiritual, physical being that is carnivorous and eats us, and then uses the energy and maybe the flesh to be a skinwalker. I don't know. I don't. Okay. I'm not 100% sure on what they are, but that's my understanding, kind of.
Okay, so a rake would be a type of skinwalker, then I guess maybe shape-shifting. I don't know. Anything can be a shapeshifter.
Sure, that's kind of my understanding of it. Yeah, the rakes are a combination. You know, I read across an article that was talking about they don't know if the creatures we have on our planet are creatures that come from another planet, or if they're interplanetary or whatever. We won't get into that discussion, but that there was some type of inbreeding that has created all these others, and that they're kind of cursed themselves. So I don't know if it could be a similar thing.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Oh my gosh, this is interesting. There could be herds of deers in the caves, even. Ooh, I never thought about that.
Yes.
Herds of deer. That would be something to get stomped on by a bunch of deers running in there. I would not like that one bit.
Yeah, hunters loved large areas like that for that very fact. And yes, the snakes. No, not a fan.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Okay. So we have Richard said, as a former investigator, we look for a body in a tunnel system with water. No more for me. Ooh. Oh gosh. Yeah, that would be rough. And yeah, as a matter of fact, Farah, who lives on this property, said that when she hasn't gotten more than a few feet into this cave. Okay, because every time she goes in it, she feels dread and it's scary. And she said the second that you walk into it, you lose your cell phone service. And the Wi-Fi doesn't pick up. So her cameras are hooked up to her Wi-Fi system. So she can't get cameras in there that work because they don't pick up the Wi-Fi. So she has not gone farther than just several feet into the cave. She said that there are caverns in it. Like it looks like an apartment building or a duplex when she goes in. And she said there's just too many places for things to hide in this cave system. I do believe she felt like she was being watched as well. And each time she's gone into this thing, the last 2 times, the next morning, her chickens were gone. So wow. She felt like that was wise because she had gone in that cave.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, because you never know what's in there, and even considering animals would know that cave better than we would because they're in and out of it so much. So yeah. Caves are something if you don't you go in a team in and go on.
Yeah. Yes, sorry, I don't know if y'all can hear that. I've got police cars going by my house right now. Trying to mute that, but yes. I know, right? That's a sign. It's a sign. Danger.
It could be, yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of police cars going by right now, actually. So, but yeah. I take that as a sign. Okay. I understand y'all. I know this is dangerous and everything, but yeah, there's just so much that can be hidden in that cave. Okay. So yeah, Jeff is right. Okay. So he was watching a video from Farah that she posted with the women that were the mediums. Skinwalkers, from what they said, the skinwalkers have been placed into the cave as a mean to contain them by a native shaman. And that's the story that goes behind this right now. So, yeah, so I told her, I said, well, do you have some plywood? Can you just board up the door? Okay, like board up the hole of the cave, like just board it up with some duct tape and nails. I don't know. And just don't go in there. And I don't think that's an option. So
probably
what do you think,
not.
Glenn? What would be your solution to all that?
Well, if there's an entrance, hello, Brenda. If there's an entrance, there's probably more than one entrance. They even said groundhogs won't go into a hole unless they have already made a hole to get their way out. So the creatures that know the system of caves know it better than us. So boarding it up probably isn't going to help. It'll just tick them off.
Yeah. Well, there's caves, and I believe they're in all through the Midwest and the South that actually have these like big iron rods on them and like a fence, yes. Like fencing almost. Like, now, would that be to keep something in or to keep us out? What do you think?
It's for our safety. Yeah,
for our safety.
There's a lot of those
for the bats or something.
Oh, the bats. Oh, there's plenty of bats in the caves. The bats don't mind them at all, as far as I've ever seen. Growing up, I can remember going into the caves and seeing the bats with the gates up. So I don't think that bothers them at all.
I mean, bats can get in and out no matter what through those bars, right? So I think it's to keep us out, which is probably safe. It's probably best, or it could be to keep things in. We've looked into stories of entrances to inner Earth, okay, and giants that live in the cave systems, and all the giant skeletons that have been found in places like Lovelock Cave out in Nevada. I mean, could there still be giants living down in these cave systems? Glenn, what do you think about that?
Some people believe that if you keep going far enough down, that there is an inner Earth that has other creatures. Our maybe even an entirely different universe. So yeah, some people believe that. I don't know that I would subscribe to that, but I think a lot of people are really into that theory.
Yeah. Well, I'm into the theory because there's been too many bones found, skeletons of giants and things like that, and a lot of stories. As a matter of fact, we've had stories of a race of giants living in Georgia, down in the Okefenokee Swamp. I don't know. I may or may not be making a trip out to the Etowah Indian Mound here in the next week or so, too.
No.
What's up with these Indian mounds, Glenn? What do you think? What do you think those were actually made for? Because we're told
Sacred
one
ground,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're told one thing about some of these historical structures, and it could be something completely different, for all we know. So,
yeah, and like you were talking about, you need a shaman to open and close it. You never know with the Indian mounds too. Either way, they're sacred ground, but yeah. You're a very brave soul, Jessica.
Yeah, no, I just like to have fun. This is fun. Like when people ask, I'm like, well, I like the scarier cryptid. So that's what we do for fun, right? We go out and hunt for cryptids. The scarier, the better. Sometimes, yeah. Glenn, tell me something. Some stories about some of the cryptids you've encountered, because I know you have potentially encountered the Alabama white thing. Which explain to the audience what that is for the people who don't know.
Well, I didn't know what the Alabama white thing was until afterwards. It's a Bigfoot type creature that is kind of, I want to call it a cross between a ghost and a Bigfoot. And it appears when I saw it, kind of came in a mystic mist shape, kind of stared at me for a little bit and then moved on. But it came and went in like a mysterious fog. It was solid white and had red eyes, and it was very creepy. My encounter with it probably lasted, I don't know, maybe a minute. It seemed like a lifetime, but yeah. And it was perfectly silent, didn't make any noise. And I was far enough away where I didn't feel I was in danger, but still, it left me with a very eerie, odd feeling. And the weirdest thing about that I noticed, that I recall, was the noise, the sounds around us. Everything was quiet. It just got dull, quiet, and like the air was moist and heavy. It was really weird.
Yeah, that usually happens when these Bigfoots come into camp, and I was just up not too long ago. I took my buddy Robbie with me. We went scouting around the mountains, and we were in this particular field, and we were like screaming over each other, trying to talk because the crickets got so loud, Glenn. It was like so loud, deafening loud. And we didn't realize we were screaming over the crickets to each other. Yeah. Out there trying to have a Bigfoot experience perhaps, but then we weren't paying attention. And then all of a sudden the crickets went dead silent. And he and I both sat there. We were still screaming over each other, and there was just dead silence. And we both knew, all right, there's something here. And we were surrounded by Bigfoots at that moment. And and so the environment goes completely quiet when it's any kind of big predator. Yeah, I think it's any kind of big predator, but also Bigfoot. So.
Definitely Bigfoot. Well, we did the frogs, and you might not have been with us, in North Carolina. The frogs were deafening, and then suddenly, nothing. And we're like, oh, we've got company.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's something to be very aware of if you're out in the woods, especially if you're like camping with your family or doing anything out in the woods, or out in the country, in the mountains, wherever you're at. Just be aware of your surroundings, and know when everything goes quiet. Pay attention. Okay, just pay attention. Maybe put your kids in the camper or something. Okay, because there's something out there. Or at least take your flashlight and shine it around. Make sure there's no predators around you. And predators aren't really known too much to come into base camps and things like that, but Bigfoots are. I mean, we've had several accounts of that, Glenn, just at our base camps.
Oh yeah, some of my best experiences have been at base camp. Yeah.
Tell me about some of your best experiences. at base camp?
Well, the last time I went out with a couple of teammates and some friends, a little family reunion type thing up in the North Georgia mountains, we were all asleep, and in the middle of the night, I kind of heard some grunting and what I thought was low talking, and it was dead. It was dead quiet, and there was something walking around, prowling through our base camp. And that one got so close that the smell was so overpowering that it was nauseating. So yeah. And then in Alabama, we had that thing, whatever it was, run through the middle of base camp with me and Grumpy. That was an adventure. I mean, it left like a trail of dust in the wind as it went between me and him. So yeah, I used to love going out and hiking and camping, or not hiking or camping, but, enjoying getting out and scouting around. But I found once I got into the radios and the comms, it's more fun at base camp because sometimes the craziness comes to you.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like we're all like high strangeness magnets. Okay. And if you just sit in your base camp, a lot of times the activity comes to you. We don't have to go out searching for it. It kind of runs for you when you're looking for it. And when you're just chilling out in base camp, it comes right to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've had some experiences at base camp too, where I've had like a rock lobbed at me from over the creek and it landed right at my feet when I was sitting in my camping chair by the fire. I think you were there for that, actually. You were at that. You were at that one.
Familiar.
Yeah, we had several rocks being thrown at us, but they never hit us, Glenn. I've never been hit. Have you?
The creepiest one was we hadn't had any. It was me and just another teammate. We went out and had a great day four-wheeling and kind of set up in an area where we didn't see anything. There was nothing going on. Sat and had a great meal. I think he cooked steaks, put fire out, or didn't put it out, but, darkened the fire down, went to bed. And we were just to that point of where you're just sleepy enough. And these little tiny pea pebbles started hitting our tent cots because we were up under beside his Land Cruiser. We were up under like a little awning. These little tiny pea gravel started hitting his tent, my tent, his table. And we were like, okay, this is weird. Now we know we've been watched all day. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. They watch us. Speaking of watching, we got Cryptid Warfare in the chat. That's Drewski, you guys. That's who I'm going up to Tennessee with this weekend. So
awesome.
Thank you for catching a second of the live before you go back to sleep. He works at night. So that's funny. Thanks for being here. Y'all go subscribe to Cryptid Warfare on YouTube and follow them on social media. They got a really cool site. It's Zook and Drewski. Okay.
Cool.
But yeah.
You need to get him on my show.
Yeah. Oh, I bet they would totally love to come on your show. Absolutely. And shoot, you probably like to go on their show too. We're just a big old family over here of researchers. And oh yeah. Yeah, they they take a very like spiritual approach, like a Cryptid Warfare. Like they know that there's like a spiritual aspect to all of this, like super I mean, these guys are like super good, like Christian men, and they're fully aware that there's a spiritual battle going on. And so that's kind of, and cryptids have a lot to do with that spirituality aspect. Not to get into the religious factor of all this, but there is a factor to some of this, especially when it comes down to the really demonic ones, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a higher power at work and a lower power at work. So yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And this is really cool. This is a good point. I know I'm behind on all the comments, y'all. I always am. But Richard said where he had his Bigfoot encounter happened. It's called the Devil's Elbow. Wonder what kind of significance that has. Yeah,
interesting. Well, we ran into somewhere up in it was the Georgia Carolina border. It was Devil's Gap or something like that, wasn't it? It was Devil's something.
Gap. Yeah. Huh. Well, it makes you wonder what was the devil out there? Something demonic.
Yeah. Something demonic, or something demonic, or was it something that they just didn't understand, and they took a higher power belief in it that it was evil, and Not to argue that it wasn't, but that was just a name. And that's, like I said, we forget these names through time. Like I was surprised in Virginia about the Wood Booger Hollow or whatever. And I mean, that was right up near Northern Virginia, DC area. And so we forget about these through time as, the cities and communities grow, but it's been around for a long, long time.
Yeah. Yes, for a long time. And I've heard that too. And I heard that they are very fast. Okay. And I saw somebody in the chat who said they don't know what a skinwalker is. Well, I believe what a skinwalker is, there's different. Okay. So there are different types of explanations for skinwalkers. Okay. And I mean, do you know what skinwalkers are, Glenn? Do you want to explain it or should I try?
No. Well, I mean, my understanding is the skinwalker is basically a shapeshifter. Which I know just throws another term in there, but it's just an entity that is evil and can shift and manifest to be either like me or you, or it could be, we'll just use the word monster.
Okay, but they're created through black magic. Okay.
From what I understand. You know more than I then. Okay.
Yes, created through black magic. Look, I'm going to pull this picture up. Okay, and this is just like the one when you look up a skinwalker online. This is the typical. These are the two. I got two pictures to show. Okay, and it's where. Okay, first of all, like a Native American, like a medicine man, someone who does dark magic. Let's just say, okay, one that knows and does dark magic can do a ritual, okay, and something very, very terrible. The person who wants to turn into a skinwalker, they have to do something very, very terrible, and it has to do with like, unaliving someone or something like that, I believe. Now I'm not sure, but this is what I've been told, and they are able to put on, like the skin of another animal, like that guy has on a coyote on his head, right? Coyote skin or a wolf, and they start you through a ritual. Okay, you turn into, you start embodying the characteristics of that animal. Okay. And I mean, from what I was told, okay, because like I said, I'm not an expert on all this. I'm learning. But I actually have spent time with a couple of, let's just say medicine men. Okay. And one of them told me that he could turn me into a skinwalker if I wanted. And I was like, nope, I don't. Thank you very much. But he had the ability to do that, he said. And actually, as a matter of fact, I was camping out with these guys. Apparently one of them tried to come up into our camp. Okay.
Wow.
And he had to shoo it out and yell at it. And it was a little scary. Let's just say, to say the least, that was a little scary. And that was about 10 years ago. It's been a while. I had no idea. I mean, it was kind of preparing me for what I'm talking about these days. Because I didn't know that I would ever be potentially encountering one again in real life here. Okay. But yeah, from what I understand, I mean, but he was telling me that a skinwalker can actually walk through walls and has like supernatural powers and things like that, almost like a ghost, Glenn. Have you heard that part?
Yeah, I had heard that they could be physical or the other type of ghost type creature. Yeah. So, but I wasn't aware of the black magic. It's interesting because I had a guest on talking about how she had the power to transform someone, and she was using a form of magic. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, and also, I had been talking with Mike from Abnormal Investigations. He's been looking into the Girl Scout murders out in Oklahoma from 1977, kind of breaking that case wide back open. Okay. And had a woman on there who claims that her family was actually involved in some of that. And, they used black magic. Okay. Dark magic or whatever to do rituals to actually invoke like demons to come and inhabit the body of a gugway that lives, which was like a dogman. The way they describe a gugway is like a dogman. And I know that we get really technical with these terms of like the different types of Sasquatch, and people consider like, I think it's a type 3 Sasquatch to be a gugway, a mutated Sasquatch. It's a little more violent. Okay. With like the sharp teeth and everything. The Native American person that Mike was talking to there in Oklahoma was saying, no, that they don't distinguish a gugway like they don't distinguish it. Like they make a connection where like a gugway is a dogman.
Okay.
They say that the dogman is the white man's term for a gugway. God, am I talking crazy? Sorry.
Well, I feel like
I'm just rambling. Okay.
No, but you're right. We do get a little more breakdown of it.
Yeah. Well, we get technical on this stuff, and honestly, I don't think any of us really knows, Glenn.
No, there's no peer-reviewed science. And I just heard of something that would be similar, except have ET, was called a walk-in. I'd never heard that term before until recently. It was talking about how they have entities will walk into a person and fill their body as that person's about to die. I was like, what? It's called a walk-in. Yeah. And I don't know anything about them, but I had just heard about that recently. So, hey, how are you?
Okay. Well, hey, Marty. Yeah. So the walk-ins, actually, that's something that Barry Littleton talks about too. And that's with she talks about how spirits, like when people die, they don't cross over. And so they go into hospitals and they jump in newborns' bodies and things like that. Now, that's not really like a walk-in. I mean, that's just like jumping in your body. Okay. Walk-in spirits are like where you go and let's say like you're really depressed or something. And you have, but you have like a huge mission here on Earth, but you just don't want to be here anymore. Well, sometimes a walk-in soul will take over that contract basically of your body. Like they'll relieve you of your duties and hop in your body and continue on, if you just don't want to continue on.
Okay.
And there are moments in your life where you have the option of not going or going like forward. And if you are here you have like a huge mission here, but you just don't feel like you can do it, your soul will decide to let another soul hop in and take over. That's called a walk-in, apparently.
Okay. Yeah. And those are what I'm just learning about. Yeah. A friend of mine was telling me about them, and apparently it's a big thing out in Texas, maybe including even vampires. I was like, okay, a little too weird for me. I'll just stick to the Bigfoot.
Yes. We have, that's interesting. We should set up mirrors outside the cave so they can see themselves and get scared. That's not a bad idea. I bet there's Bigfoot in there. I've never seen themselves before, especially coming out looking disheveled without brushing their hair and stuff. Just kidding. I'm trying to make jokes. Okay. I'm trying to be funny because it's actually kind of scary. Okay. Okay. And yes, there are lights. Let's see I have tons of cameras with IR lights that I could get in there. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I mean, we could use more cameras for sure. Farrah's up in Tennessee, but I know she could use more light, or not more lights, more cameras. The IR light though, that red light, the beings out there can see that. So I think that they've learned to get around those.
Yeah, I know that there's usually bang stick associated with it.
Yeah, because we don't really put that many cameras out that have IR lights on them, especially around base camp at night and things like that, because we know that things will stay away when they see that red light.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Actually, at my mom's house just recently, I put an outdoor camera with an IR intentionally.
Oh, really? To keep things away because of the IR light? That's pretty smart. Yeah. Yeah. So it works both ways. You either want to be stealthy and not let them see the IR light, or you want people to see the IR light to know that you are monitoring your property. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
And one of the things, you'll probably hear this weekend, people that have had families live in areas for long periods of time, they've known about these things, and sometimes they even get protective of them and don't tell others or outsiders about them. I know people that have owned farms or do own farms and have creatures on them, and they won't sell the property because of that. So.
Oh, wow. A lot of people get a haunted property and they want to get out of it ASAP, right? Mm-hmm. ASAP. I sent Farrah a message yesterday, and I told her, I said, sometimes we get, I told her I thought that perhaps maybe she was attracted to that property. She bought it just last year, matter of fact, she and her husband. And sometimes we don't know why we're being pulled to an area to go there, but it's something that we are meant to do. It's on our path. And some say, okay, now I'm going to get into like the starseed aspect of all this stuff too. I know. I try to, like this, to me, it's all connected. And I know some people may think that I'm crazy for saying this, but sometimes we're drawn to land so we can go out there and heal it. Okay. No matter how scary it is. I mean, sometimes I wonder, like with our team, Glenn, the places that we go to research, maybe we're there to try to heal the land a little bit and to bring some balance. And, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, we are on these ley lines and stuff, and we don't look at these ley line maps and go places where there are ley lines. We find out after the fact that we've gone to these places to research that there are ley lines there.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right about being drawn to places. So absolutely, I believe that. I don't know so much to heal, but to be an outlet, maybe that's a better word. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and iron does drive evil away, and that's why I think they used to put like iron bars over like vampire people that were alleged vampires. They put like iron bars over their caskets and stuff, so they couldn't get out. And horseshoes over your door, Glenn. Right? Doesn't a horseshoe have something to do with that?
I'm not sure about the horseshoe, but definitely with, they would put them in iron bars welded around not just the body too. So yeah, just crawling through.
Absolutely. Just crawling through here, Shade Viking. Thank you for crawling through here with your creepy self there. We're talking about creepy stuff today. I love it. And I'm, yeah. Being faster. I know. Who was that? Oh yeah, I think it was. So I was out in the woods this past weekend, Glenn. I went up with Craig and Keith and Bruce, and we were up in the North Georgia mountains. I took Ben, my son, and we taught him, and they actually taught him some bushcraft and some. What all did we do? Oh, how to start a fire on his own and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was awesome. He had a great time, but we were. My son actually found his first set of bear tracks, Glenn. We were out there looking for Bigfoot sign. Okay. And we went on some hikes. He found some bear tracks, some pretty fresh ones too. And so we were looking at those and we were kind of joking around. I think he said something about, I don't know if he was teaching my son this or we were just joking, but he was like, well, you don't really have to be the fastest. You just got to be faster than the slowest one in your group if you get away from a bear. And I think that's what FAP is talking about today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they're not shooting the leg, behind.
Thanks a lot, FAP. You got to do what you got to do, though, right? So
that's right. Survival is key.
Survival of the fittest out there. Unless you got your mama with your kid, and you're going to definitely take off running. We definitely kick Keith first, okay? And we take off running. I'm just kidding. We wouldn't. I love it. He's always my Bigfoot burrito guy. He'd be a lot faster than me. I would definitely be the slow one for sure. But see, Keith and Ben were barefooted, so they didn't have their shoes on. So I had shoes on.
Oh yeah, so, you had in that case.
I don't know. Yeah. I had an advantage. I would have put Ben on my back though. And taken off. So that's how we roll. Definitely how we roll.
These are behind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to get to some of these comments. I'm trying to get some of these comments. I was trying to get some before we go today. Hey, Brown Dwarf's in the chat too. Yeah, I would also like to know what the rake is exactly. If anybody in the comments knows exactly what the rake crawler is, I know we've kind of touched on it today, but I've heard several different explanations of what the rake is. And one of them, I mean, they're shapeshifters. I've heard spiritual, like ghost kind of thing. I've also heard a skinwalker. Okay. And so I don't know for positive. But you know what? I'm trying to do my research on all this, and so I can be prepared. But who's to say it? What if it's like an alien? I mean, aliens could lurk in these caves too, right, Glenn?
Absolutely. Well, remember one of the caves in Georgia they thought could house, I won't call it a base, but a place for the aliens to go. So, I mean, I don't know that that's true, but we'd heard that.
Well, okay. Well, another aspect to this property is there seems to be an underground facility underneath their house. Especially at night when Farrah and her husband are sleeping, their bed will rattle and it sounds very mechanical underneath their house. Very mechanical. It's like it's got a beat to it, like a train is going underneath their house. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, when I RV'd it, I absolutely picked up an underground facility there on that property. As usual, I'm not shocked. But there could be a connection to that cave in this underground facility too, maybe.
It's possible, quite possible. The property I grew up on, there was something that I think they were building a tunnel as I was growing up, and it used to haunt me and scare me as a child. I'd be awoken at night by those noises. And so, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a comment. Donna has a great comment. She should set up iron stakes around the entrance of the cave also. Yes. All I saw was the word stake, and I thought of what Drewski said. Because, so whatever was coming out of that cave, it's been taking her chickens. Okay. Mm-hmm. So he actually had mentioned that he was going to bring some chicken livers and stuff. And I saw steaks, but you mean like iron steaks? I'm hungry. I haven't had breakfast or lunch today. Yeah. So I'm thinking of steak and gizzards.
When you started the show talking about it ate the chicken, the first thing that came to mind was, wings.
I'm hungry. Right. Chicken fingers and tater logs. Yeah.
Here you go.
That's what I grew up on, chicken fingers and tater logs. But yeah, iron steak, that's not a bad idea. So as long as they're tall, I don't know. But if there's something as big as a Bigfoot in there, they can just break those iron rods, I would think. So
yeah, it would just be a deterrent.
Yeah. Yeah, I would, like I said, I kind of was joking around. I said, can't you just put a piece of plywood up and just cover it and just say you're done with it, but that's just not how it works. It's not that easy, apparently. So
no. Does the person want to know what they are? They want to know what it is?
Is that what you mean?
Or do they want, I guess my question is, do they want them to go away, or they just want to coexist with them, the family?
That's a very good question. That's something that we need to have a long conversation about, right? And so we're gonna have that conversation when we get there, I believe, about all of this, because we're trying to come up with our game plan right now. If there's a threat involved, we're gonna have to try to, fix it, however we can fix it. If it's something that could coexist, I mean, whatever it is, it's probably pretty ancient. It's been there for a while. Because that cave is as old as the earth, so,
sure.
And the Farrah and her husband just moved there in October. So, I think that if it was up to Farrah, I'd believe that it would be good to be able to coexist with whatever is there. But it's gone to taking her chickens, and those are her babies at this point. So, so there's that. There's that. And if there's a danger, I mean, she can't even go anywhere near that cave, and that cave is part of her property.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to neutralize whatever's scaring her. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And like you were talking about, don't stir it up and then leave.
Right. Exactly. And that's the one thing that I'm really worried about, is stirring things up a little bit more than they're already stirred up right now. And then us just leaving her there. And so I'm trying to do as much as I can to try to do my research on all of this stuff and bring in the right people and get the right advice from the right people. And I think I'm gathering it right now. And she's doing her work. So we're all doing our boots on the ground stuff right now before we head out there. So
okay.
I'm going to keep everybody posted on this, but yeah. I don't know, Glenn, tell everybody where they can find you on your podcast. I mean, we've gone about an hour today. I mean, it flew by. I feel like I just turned on my camera.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, well, whenever you and I start talking, it usually does. Well, you can find me on Facebook at the Para, ROR, Normal Guys with a Z. And that's a group for my podcast, and that's also my YouTube channel, Paranormal Guys. And then every Wednesday night, I host a podcast around 9, and I have Sarah Phillip tonight on the show from Travel Channel Ghost Hunters. So you can join us there. And then Saturdays, I call it my Misfits. It's just a group of friends and people I've gotten to know through the chats and stuff. And I'll send out the link, and we'll get on the camera and we'll talk. We may talk paranormal. We may talk about current events, politics. It's just like I told somebody, it's like a CB radio. It's just us talking and busting each other's balls, basically.
A CB radio. I love that. And you have a CB radio. You got your ham license and all that stuff. And you know, I was trying to get Craig to go up to Tennessee with me, and he said that no, he's the vice president of his repeater club or something.
Yeah, he's a little heavier into it than I am. So yeah. Yeah, he's a little heavier into it than I am.
We're gonna go hunt skinwalkers, and you gotta do that, and it's okay. He's gonna be a lot safer doing that. So
he wanted to play radio. Yeah, I would go with you, but I have 2 podcasts. I have one I've scheduled a long time in advance, and then I do my show that Saturday night. I would love to have went with you, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna try to. You know what? Let me see. I'm gonna try to swing through these comments before we say goodbye today.
Sure.
And because I got Kira in here. Hey, Kira. Let me just go down to the end. Okay, I've got Cryptidville is in the house. I hadn't seen Cryptidville in a while. Hey, Cryptidville. And we have Kira Kira's one of my Spaced Out Radio star sisters. Okay. And so thank you for being here today, Kira. Cool. I mean, there's so many people in here, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I haven't gotten to all the comments today. And but we just talk. And I can't keep up with it all. It's I'm trying though. Yes. Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's what we were talking about, JD Smooth. Yeah. That's the thing. Like we pick a fight, like see, and that's like with Glenn, like when we go on an investigation or just to go research, we don't pick fights at all. And we have to be we're just there to observe and find out what it is and see how we can help. Okay. And with this one, something is definitely threatening Farrah and their well-being there. So that's something that it's making us a little more concerned. Okay. With this one. And so this is, it's kind of a big deal. And that's why I'm pretty worried about, doing it all the right way and not leaving things to seek vengeance on the family and the chickens once we leave. And all the other pets, they have a lot of pets there. Yeah. That's the thing when you stir these things up. Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're calling in some big dogs on this one, because we don't want to leave the family in any kind of danger. Okay.
No.
Yeah, and Donna. I was saying there's another Brenda's underneath you. Okay, so underneath your comment there. So, if they coexist with them, they will help them and protect her home when they are gone. And I think that too, absolutely. Mm-hmm. If they coexist. And I mean, what do you guys think? Should she make like an offering or something every now and then to like keep them there? Because we talk about not gifting Bigfoots, right? But making like a tobacco offering to the land and things like that. I don't know. We're gonna try some different things. Brenda.
Yeah, I've heard that you can gift them. And in, like I said, there's many families, including some I know in East Tennessee, that have them and they've been on their property for years and they coexist. And they will, like you said, actually look out for the family once they know that they take care of them.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people say that Bigfoots are just a tribe of people. Mm-hmm. Okay. They're people. They're like humans. I tend to believe that too. I think that they are like a tribe, and I think they're all different. Okay, I think there's a lot of different types of Bigfoots.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, we know people. I personally know somebody that used to take big old chickens and things out to the woods to offer them to the Bigfoot. But that's very dangerous because once you don't take your chicken out there, and there's a family that comes camping, and they don't have a chicken to offer. They may have hell to pay.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we have to be careful with that. And yeah, you can't tell Bigfoots to leave, but just don't be leaving chickens and whole hogs out for them, okay? And yes, Shea Viking skinwalkers are what's left of a person that fights Chuck Norris. Oh man, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yes, I love throwing a little bit of humor in there, especially at the very end. Yeah, Chuck Norris. I mean, I'm gonna have to do some Chuck Norris training before I go too. I'll take my son's nunchucks with me in case I need to fight off a skinwalker. So
I'm pretty sure you could punch him and run. So
yeah, well, I can run fast, but yeah, until somebody gets eaten, don't be something's dinner. Okay, that's what my friend Mike always says. Don't be something's dinner, and that's the goal. But yeah, you guys please keep Farrah and our team and your thoughts and prayers this week, and we'll come back and give an update next week sometime on how this all goes. But thank you so much. I appreciate that, and
hopefully I can get some of your chat members to jump over to the Paranormal Guys and watch our show tonight. So
yes, you guys go to Paranormal Guys on YouTube. Follow Glenn. He's at Sportcat, Sportcat, all over social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever you find your social media fix for the day. You can find Glenn over there. And
pretty much.
And so, yeah. And so Kira says, I just saw a show on ancient druid blessings of land and offering being given to appease the energies might be a good plan. 100%. I agree with that. Yep, and so, yeah. Oh, and also, yeah, making gardens. Maybe Farrah can make a garden for them and one for her. I don't know. They may not. Well, I guess you could put a sign out that says this is for Bigfoot, but this was mine. They're like human, but that would be awesome. So you never know. I mean, you don't know until you do it, right? Until you try it. And that's my thing.
We've both heard people doing very odd things, so you never know. You don't know. And if these beings have a mind of their own and their own intelligence, they may like one thing as opposed to a different one may like something else. So yeah, you don't know.
You never know. You got to get a feel of your neighbors, right? Take them an apple pie sometime. I know. But yeah, I don't know. I was going to say something about
keep talking about
the neighbors
food
with the cameras. That's funny. Yeah. So
kind of creepy there.
Kind of creepy. I know. Well, it's like the new tenants moved in and they're spying on us. They got the cameras pointed towards our home, our cave. So it's just a matter of getting to know your neighbors. That's all. Yeah.
That's I agree.
All right. It is. Well, this has been awesome, Glenn. I think that we did know, we learned a little bit about the caves today and the cave systems in Tennessee. I learned that there's a ton of caves up there. And then I recalled that I had already been in one because I forgot. But Anna Ruby, I think it's called Ruby Falls, I think. I've actually been in a cave there. I just forgot. Yeah, absolutely. So, so this has been awesome. Everybody, please tune in to Paranormal Guys. That's tonight. What time again, Glenn?
9:00. It's going to be me, and I've got a special co-host, Bob Dahl.
9 p.m.
Yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to have Sarah Phillip on there from tonight. The Ghost Hunters. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome, Glenn. Well, I'm so excited for you.
Well, thank you.
You have a really fun show, and I'm so glad you came and joined me today. And I can't wait to get back out in the woods with you and have some more fun doing this weird, crazy Bigfoot stuff we do. Okay.
Me too. It seems like we have an energy when we go out.
Guys, please tune in to Glenn's show. We do. And also, you guys, please join me this weekend. I will be live and direct Saturday night at Spaced Out Radio. I'm planning to be. If I'm not at Spaced Out Radio Saturday night, y'all come looking for me. Okay. But I'll be at Spaced Out Radio Saturday night and then Sunday night as well, 10 p.m. Eastern. And I have Rob Khalil coming on Sunday night with the Typical Skeptic podcast. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But anyways, cool. Glenn, have a wonderful day. Everybody in the chat, thank y'all for being here. Thank you for my moderators for being here. I love all you guys. Y'all are the best. Y'all have a great night and we'll see y'all. Oh, actually, I just remembered I have a remote viewing show tomorrow night. So y'all please come join me tomorrow night, 8 p.m. actually, with Jeremiah Fountain and Nick Valente. How did I forget that? Okay. Y'all come join us tomorrow night at 8. I'll see y'all there. Bye, Glenn. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
If I can get this to work. Okay.